Now here's something that I really want to discuss with you all also. The idea of ramming your console. Basically putting a mod chip into your game console, whatever it was. Be it a Sony PlayStation, Sega Saturn, or basically just those, because I had never heard of anyone doing such a thing for the Dreamcast, because by that point it was really useless. It's actually a dead art now, because I remember in the mid to late 90s you would actually pay an illegal establishment, basically, you know, a Chinese, Japanese store. You would pay them money and they would put a chip into your system, your game system, and you could play either copied games, illegal games, or Japanese games. I actually had a mod chip in my PlayStation that allowed me to play both. You may think such a thing now is useless, and it is, but it was the 90s back then, and basically they wanted to do such things. The idea now is crazy due to the fact that if the game is not released outside of Japan, it's not worth doing, because even if you were able to mod your console, what kind of games would you really play? I remember in the Chinatown, you could play like the Dragon Ball Z games, or you could actually just like maybe burn a game. You know, let's say that a friend lent you a copy of the game and you really liked it, you could just burn a copy of it and play it on your own console. But at the same time, there was problems with that too. One problem I remember was Dino Crisis. It was a game that I bought legitimately, and I wanted to play it. You know, I bought a new game, I wanted to play it. But once I put it on my PlayStation, I got a Japanese warning logo. Apparently the game knew that I had modded my PlayStation and it would not allow me to play. From what I know, there was only a few games, back then they called it smart games, that basically if your system was modded, they would not play. You know, basically a fail-safe feature. But the last time I heard of something modded, modified, chipped, whatever, was like in 1999. When the PlayStation 2 came out, no one did such things because, like I said, it was useless. I mean, let's say that you mod your console. Even if you, let's say that you don't want to play the Dragon Ball Z fighting games. What kind of games would you play? What kind of store would sell you copied games, illegal games? None. It's just not worth it. That's why the idea just came out and disappeared as soon as it did. It wasn't like it stayed around for a lot of years. It was like just for a few years. Oh yeah, let's modify the PlayStation so it could play these kinds of games. Then people actually thought about it and said, wait, this isn't worth it. Why are we doing this? From what I know, there was only a bunch of games that you could actually play anyway. Let's say that you didn't want to play the Dragon Ball Z games. There was only a few other games that I really heard of, like Darkstalkers and X-Men versus Street Fighter. There wasn't a lot of selection for that. So it really was basically a do-at-your-own-risk kind of thing, if you want to like live on the wild side, that kind of thing. I just can't believe such things were done like that. Alright, let's flip through the pages and see what else we can find. Alright, we're moving on. Oh, we definitely gotta talk about Pokemon 2. Now that was a craze in the 90s that really got out of control. If you were a kid in the late 90s or the mid 90s and you had a Game Boy, you had Pokemon. You had a Game Boy at that time. There was no PSP. There was no Nintendo DS. It was just the Game Boy. And the Game Boy had the most extensive video game library in gaming history. There were so many games for that console, that handheld thing. There were so many add-ons like the printer, the Nintendo Paint, the camera. It had all these add-ons. And if you bought a Game Boy, it was worth your money. It was worth it to buy because you had a lot of fun playing it too. I mean, I have one of the original Game Boys that came out like in 1988, 89, 1990, and I had that for so many years before it finally broke. Those things were made to last. Now with Pokemon, I remember when it came out, you either bought a blue or a red. I was like the only kid in my neighborhood that bought a red version. And because of that, everyone wanted to play me and they wanted to fight me, trade with me, because everyone bought blue. Everyone thought that blue was the version to get. And I got all the Pokemon, and that was another thing that Pokemon really did. You know the Game Boy Link wire? You know, besides Pokemon, what else did you use that for? Another reason why people wanted to play with me because, well, I bought that wire to play with Pokemon, and everybody wanted to play with me because no one else had that wire. No one else wanted to waste their money on such things. Pokemon was definitely something to play because you could waste your time endlessly on that game. Even if you weren't exactly into the trading card game or the TV show, you could buy it. You could buy the game, and that was it. Man, Pokemon was so great. Now we're still looking, and I'm looking through these previews now. You know, back then previews were so good. I mean, if there was a preview for a game, you would actually see it. It's not like now where you rarely hear anything about games. Occasionally you may see a video game commercial, but otherwise that's it. Parasite Eve. I hate it when I'm reminded of these games that I did not buy and that I wanted to play. I hate that. Alright, let's move on. What previews do we have now? What else am I going to be reminded of? Now, Rival Schools. Now, that's a franchise, but no one ever took it seriously. It's like Darkstalkers. A good fighting game series, but they never really took advantage of it. It's like they released a game or two, and that was it. Like, game over, let's not ever talk about it again. It's a shame. That's wasted talent right there. Okay, we're still looking around. I'm trying to see what else I can talk to you about. And here we are. Oh, wait. No. Wait, what's this? Castlevania. Actually, from what I read on the internet, the franchise was officially killed not too long ago. But I remember this game coming out, and then basically that's the kind of thing. If you don't get into it for the first game or two, you never really want to hear about it. Even if it's real good, you never get into it. It's like, oh, it's not worth my time. I'm not going to deal with it. But for some people I know, it was a really good game series, and from what I heard, it was really worth the time to play too. It was actually very original, but it was not my cup of tea, so I never really bothered with it. So other than that, you know, it looked great. I mean, some of you may think that the Nintendo 64 graphics are out of date, but not really. It could still hold its own in some cases. Once again, I'm reminded of Pokemon. You see, it's like I told you before. The red or the blue, Blastoise or Charizard, which one do you want to get? Which one do you want to have? Which one are you going to say, I'm going to beat you with Charizard, I'm going to blow you away with Blastoise? What are you going to do? Alright, I'm still looking around. We're coming to the end of the issue, so I don't think there's much else I can really talk to you about. I'm still flipping through the pages. Some of these ads were real nice, like I told you before. We're back at the sports. Oh, right before I sign off, before I stop the video, I want to tell you that The Legend of Zelda, I remember also reserving this game, and I still have it, the gold version, because that's what you got, the limited edition. I mean, oh man, there's so much to talk about. I don't think I could before the video's up, but definitely one of the best games ever made. Alright, I'm still moving on. Almost at the end of the book now. And I believe I'm going to stop the video here because it's not worth it to continue. And we're coming up to the end of the video, and this special episode is almost over. Still looking through the previews, not really worth anything we're telling you. So alright then, the video is up besides these last few pages, and I hope you stay tuned for the next part because we're almost done, but we're not done yet. Right then, now let's see. Now we have Final Fantasy VIII, which came out in 1999, September 9, 1999. I remember 9/9/99 because Squaresoft, they made a publicity stunt with that. That was the day that Final Fantasy VIII came out. And That really was a good game. I thought it was a good game because there was a lot of bad reputation on that game due to the fact that there were so many menus, and some thought that the storyline was too sci-fi, too futuristic, and that it strayed too far from the original quote-unquote Final Fantasy roots. But it's a game that it's your own taste. If you like it, you don't. And I remember some people saying that, well, why is Renoa and Zell in the cutscene like when you escape from Dalit? Well, that's because when the game came out, it was actually a demo. A demo came out for the game, and if you play that game, you saw Renoa and Zell in the cutscene instead of Selphie and Quistis. So that's the answer to that. I really did like Final Fantasy VIII. I really thought that it was a good game. 8 was a worthy sequel to 7, but at the same time, Final Fantasies, they don't connect to each other. The first one to actually connect, the sequel was, X2, but at this time, look at that, available in Japan, winter of 1999. This really does take you back. I mean, that was a really good game, It really takes you back. Look at this. Having a bad day? Take it out in Canada, eh? No hard feelings, eh? You gotta love these ads, I've said it again and again. Oh look, wait. We had Xenogears, which I would say was the best game I ever played, due to the fact that the story was so deep in this game. It was God, it was the devil, it was humanity, it was colonization, it was the end of humanity, it was this and that. The game was really deep. It had Fei Long, it had Ellie, Lock-in, Sophia, and by the way, just in case you don't know, supposedly Xenosaga, the 3 Xenosaga games, was a prelude to Xenogears. And I really like that idea. That was a really good idea. But the idea fell through. Because the thing was, the creator of Xenosaga, or the mechanic, or one of the mechanic behind the game, the developer, he was actually fired or forced to leave after the first game came out. And for those of you who played the first game, then to the second and third game, you could immediately notice that there was a difference in the game. You could tell that there was something different. I did. And when he left, Xenosaga, basically it was a different game. It was completely different. From what I heard, Xenosaga was actually meant to be 5 games, not 3, due to the fact that after that developer was pushed off the Xenosaga game, people in Japan, they were afraid to play it, and in America as well. The game wasn't exactly what it was before, so the sales were decent, but they were not good enough to really continue the franchise. So instead of 5 games, there will be 3, and that's how it goes. So we're still looking, and Soul Calibur. Now, this was basically the fighting series, the franchise that basically built itself up on the fact that instead of hand-to-hand like Virtua Fighter, Street Fighter, or anything like that, Soul Calibur was with weapons. I remember when it came out, it was basically the weapons version of Tekken or something like that. Really detailed, really in-depth, but with a whole different edge on it. I remember that I played Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast and Soul Calibur 2 on the PlayStation 2, and I think that the graphics and the game motion, the fluidness, the fluidity, the game speed of the Dreamcast version was better than the PlayStation 2 version. That's why when I remember reading in a Dreamcast magazine once that one of the best games to have ever been released on the Dreamcast was Soul Calibur, and I believe it because that game was good. It was so original. And we have all the characters here right now too. Let's see who we got. We got Mitsurugi. It all depended on who you really played with, like Click, Sophia, Taki, Voldo, Astaroth, Zhuanghua. It's all who you play with. And everyone I know, they had a particular character that they play with, and they say, oh, I'm the best with this character. You fight against me, I'll beat you. And that's those kinds of things. That was a game that was really worth playing. To be honest, I never actually played the original Soul Edge. That's what the original game was. It was Soul Edge, then Soul Calibur, then Soul Calibur 2, 3, 4, 5, and, you know, so on and whatever. But, you had to stop Siegfried and all that. Oh wait, look, rival schools. Once again, I'm telling you that this fighting franchise could have really been something. I remember the concept was like different schools would fight each other and to see which school was the best. I'm telling you, I hate it when we have potential franchises that were never taken seriously, and these potential franchises could have really been good. I remember a few years ago, or not too long ago, that basically it was unofficial rumors that the Rival School series would be brought back, but I never really heard anything about that, so it was probably just internet fan-based, you know, rumors. They're just trying to start something, even though nothing will really happen, nothing will come of it. It's really sad, though. I never played this series, but I always wanted to. Like, when you get enough money to buy the game, the stores don't sell the game anymore and you miss out. Damn it. But I heard that this was actually I heard it was a pretty average series. Like I said, it was a franchise that could have been, but it never was. So we're here at the end, and well, that's pretty much it. I don't really see anything else worth talking. So we come to the end of this special multi-part video game magazines episode, and I really do hope that you enjoyed watching. I don't see anything else. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm pretty sure. Maybe.